Welcome! This is my third video on reality transurfing, specifically the topic of pendulums. You may also click on the links in the video description to watch the previous two parts if you would like to have some basis for watching this. But today's installment, part 3 today, I'm going to be talking about subtle pendulums out there, how exactly you can be drawn in by them, and how conscious creation is the answer for you to pick the pendulums that change your lifelines, that put you on better lifelines for your best interest. Pendulums are everywhere. They exist in many different forms. In the previous videos, I talked about how governments, societies, cults, they have their ways of creating compliance amongst their members by making a pendulum which their community exists upon. However, in the day-to-day, there are many more subtle pendulums out there. For example, today I was at a hair salon. When the boss was out, the two staff that attended to me, they were having some chit-chat among themselves while they did my curls. And they were talking about, the boss is such a nice guy, he cares for us and everything, but sometimes how nice he is and concerned he is just makes it very hard for me to claim my off day. I feel bad to ask, do you feel that way too? And the other guy was like, yeah, that's kind of true as well for me. I've been working continuously every day since 2 Fridays ago. So if any of you out there starts to think, what? Someone has been working non-stop every day for 2 weeks? That's manpower abuse. There you have it, you're caught in a pendulum. At the same time, someone would also be caught up in the pendulum if they get pulled into the emotions and thoughts conveyed by two hairdressers. The vacant mind makes the typical person very susceptible, or should I say, it is very easy for the typical person with a vacant mind, an impressionable mind, to go into the day-to-day activities, and when they hear about something going on, even though it never actually concerned them before, but just because they heard it, for example, they've heard about the two hairdressers today, it becomes their problem. They go back home and, hey honey, I was at the hair salon today and I heard about these two hairdressers talking. It seems like the boss is a really nice guy, but this guy here, he feels so bad to take an off day. He's been working for 2 weeks straight. Same goes for people on social media. I've seen so many Instagram stories where friends and acquaintances post about their thoughts and reports about the war between Israel and the Palestinians, or how North Korean soldiers' lives got sacrificed because Kim Jong-un sent them to support Russia in the war against Ukraine. Now let me ask you a question. You all have your cell phones, right? How many times, and comment beneath this video if this has been true for you, that you unlocked your cell phone, you were going to send someone a message, but in the midst of doing so, maybe because some notifications popped up or you decided to swipe down and see what kind of notifications appeared, and suddenly you came across a tweet by Elon Musk, or maybe your local newspaper had some story headline that's clickbait, or maybe Amazon or some other e-commerce platform sent you a coupon. 5 or 10 minutes later, you wondered, what did I unlock my phone to do? Because you got sidetracked into these other things already. So whether it's getting involved with other people's affairs, gossip, or notification from an application got you sucked into a news story, or perhaps like some promotions for your e-commerce platform, all these are the subtle pendulums that I was trying to address. Pendulums are not necessarily constructive or destructive. They can also be disruptive. Just for some comparison's sake, a constructive pendulum is like when you walk into a gym where people seriously work out. I'm not talking about you go into a gym where we get a whole bunch of Instagram posers and their tripod stands and just trying to video themselves doing 1 or 2 reps and then just take off for the rest of the day. But a gym where everyone is hardcore. They're grunting, they're lifting heavy weights, they're respecting their training recipe, they're not taking breaks that are too long. When you walk into a place with all these people full of discipline, how do you think that's going to change your workout? If you are there to improve your body, revamp your fitness, become a new fitter you, don't you think such a gym culture would be very conducive for you? This gym culture that helps you grow, bust your limits, stay focused to your training goals, that's a constructive pendulum. So let's imagine that we are choosing between a few different gyms to join, and you pick this one. When you pick this one, you actively chose a pendulum that supports your goals, ambitions, desires, motivations, as opposed to the other one that's full of Instagram posers. How did we come to pick a pendulum that is conducive for us? And this is the conscious creation at work. Because before that, our seed idea could be, I want to get fit. I want to get not just any fit, I want to get ripped. I want to be so athletic. I want to catch up with my teenagers. I want to make sure that I can play sports without having to drop out halfway. I want to be able to last the whole session. If it's a soccer match, I want to last the full 90 minutes, etc. So this could be the seed idea, the motivation, right? And then based on that, you consciously choose a gym that aligns with this goal of ours to get like that fit, that lean, that much endurance. Because you have established that you're going to join a gym. You went on a few gym tours and you're thinking, yeah, that's it. The inspired action is to go with this gym, not the other ones. So the inspired action put us on the constructive pendulum that supports that we want to do. In my videos, I've quoted Bob Proctor. He loves to say, if you are not moving ahead, you are certainly falling behind. If you're not moving ahead, you're most certainly falling behind. In chapter 4 of Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland, he talks about balance and equilibrium. Did you know when it's really hot in one place and really cold in one place, it then gets balanced out by the wind? Like right now, you see me wearing these long sleeve shirts or hoodies in tropical Bangkok because for whatever reason, the strong winds have been balancing out some excess cold in other areas. So therefore, the excess cold came to this place of tropical heat, like a vacuum, and it came over. And we've been having 15 Celsius, 16 Celsius kind of temperatures over here, which is really rare. It's like less than half of what we usually get. Vadim Zeland writes that everything in nature strives for balance, although a perfect equilibrium is never possible. And if you've ever tried to swing like a liquid, for instance, it takes some time before it can actually come to a rest. There'll always be some movement from one side to the other. And the reason for that is because there's always like an overcompensation. If you have been suffering and struggling at a cause for a very long time, you are inevitably creating a vacuum for the success to come into your life. By the same token, if there's too much of something, it also gets balanced out by nature. If something is not in line, for instance, we all have energy, we all have our focus, and we have our power to create. So what happens when we have an excess of thought energy, an excess of potential? Likewise, it will get taken away like a vacuum. So remember the example that I mentioned just now. You open your phone and you are about to do something, but then your focus got distracted by some notifications, some other things popping up on your screen, and you forgot your original purpose. I'm sure you've also walked into a shopping mall and then some people pull you aside. Hey, try out our deep sea facial mud or whatever. It's no obligation. Come over and sniff our in-house special mix perfumes. You might just like it. This is how we get dissuaded from achieving the things in life that we ultimately desire so much for ourselves, because there's this excess energy that's not being directed to a focus. Conscious creation is like, we wake up, or before we sleep, we have an idea what we're going to do tomorrow. Or when we wake up today, we're already setting our intentions. Like I have a video that gives like a 5-minute routine that establishes your order for today. It sets the mental mood for the day. It sets your inspirations for the day. And the whole day, you'll be seeking out ways and means, all the various opportunities that you need, the people that you need, the connections that you need that will support you towards achieving that vision that you crafted for yourself the morning that you woke up or the night before you slept, with a goal in mind. Or it could be, a vision, like a mental movie. I've talked about in other videos, like create a mental movie or even a mental snapshot, right? Let's say if everything checks out for you in your life, if we were to take a snapshot of 1 year from this very exact moment, where would this snapshot be of? Who would be in that snapshot? What would you be doing? And then you start to think. Likewise, we can do a series of snapshots just like this. That's at 12 months, right? 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks. What does that look like? Because sometimes we need to know where we're going in order to get there, like a map, right? So all of these snapshots would give us an idea of just how to get there. Along the way, the inspired actions can take place, and the inspired actions may most probably involve getting off some pendulums that no longer serve us and getting to some of the pendulums that will help us get to a certain place. In a previous video on reality transurfing and pendulums, I've also talked about how this channel, Inspire and Random, can also be a pendulum, because over here we recognize a certain way of thinking. And that is why you subscribe to this channel, because oh yeah, I'm not the only one thinking this way. Hezekiah from Inspire Random, he thinks this way too. And he's got somewhere in his life. I'm struggling right now. This could be a pendulum for me to catch on to get to where I want. Maybe in the past you subscribed to certain YouTube channels because of the notification settings. When they put up a new video, you see it on your home feed when you come to YouTube. But there are also some of those channels that over a period of time, either the videos that they posted become of a different nature you're not so interested in, or perhaps the direction of that channel has shifted. Maybe you used to like the way that they discuss certain topics, but over time, the angle has changed for whatever reason. Sometimes we think, this channel hasn't grown as much as I think it should have, or perhaps I used to be on this pendulum for quite some time, but now I don't really think this is for me. With a goal in mind, with a dream in mind, with a vision in mind, and like Neville Goddard loves to say, the feeling of the wish fulfilled in mind, we can seek out all the things, elements, circumstances, whatever in life that will help us to obtain this. Our subconscious actually seeks out all those things. But the thing is, if we do not impress upon our subconscious, in the beginning of this video, I said impressionable. If you are impressionable, if your mind is vacant, naturally you will be impressionable. Strive to impress upon your mind with what you want, what outcomes you seek. In that way, despite pendulums can try to suck us in, despite pendulums can be destructive, despite pendulums can be constructive, we will definitely pick the right choices that will support ourselves. And heck, we might even create our own pendulums as well. Never let your mind be vacant. Even on an off day, what is your objective for the off day? To relax, to recharge, to get revitalized? If that is the case, online gaming till the wee hours of the morning, or chain smoking, chugging alcohol, chugging beer after beer would not be in line with the so-called refresh and recharge, revitalize. This morning, because my car is still in repair, I busted a cylinder head and a piston, so I called for a Bolt taxi, something like Uber that some of you use in other places. Even though the application showed where my house was on the map, and I even typed my house number in as well in the messages with the driver, but for whatever reason, the guard may have misheard him and pointed him in the wrong direction. He spent minutes going in a different part of the estate that was nowhere near to my house was. And when I called, I was like, what are you doing? I'm on this other section, not that part. And then he said, oh, the guard said this other house number was on the other side. I was like, well, excuse me. Firstly, that's not the number that I typed. The map's right there. And after we got on board, he was kind of upset with himself, probably for wasting fuel and minutes of my time as well that could have been better spent. But that's how it happens. If our mind is vacant, we didn't take the time to see on the map where exactly we're headed. We have no idea where we are headed, and we didn't bother to clarify the goal. This is a summary of what happens to a lot of people every day in different ways. Why do you think advertisers spend so much money on advertising, interstitial advertising, pop-up advertising, and etc.? Because they're trying to catch the focus of people who don't know what they really want. So instead of letting nature balance out this excess idle energy, unused potential, it's better to spend those time in pursuit of something else. Like I mentioned in another previous video, I talked about how I started Inspire at Random out of a passion towards manifestation and spirituality, and just wanting to share my breakthrough story, my manifestation journey. It's something I just feel very passionate about. I saw how the channel has been growing along. I see how nearly 3,000 of you have subscribed by now. And even back then, when it wasn't anywhere near 3,000 subscribers, I was thinking to myself, well, even if the work that I do gets delayed, if my commissions do not come in the time frame that I wanted, well, I'm still happy. I'm grateful for everything that I have in my life. I'm grateful for the house that I'm in. I'm grateful for the car that I have. I'm grateful for all my pets that love me. I'm grateful for my kids and how they've been developing along. Even if the work projects get delayed, I've still got Inspire at Random. And even if Inspire at Random doesn't take off in the way that I wanted to, I've still got the work project. So, why worry? I'm not worried. And when I'm not worrying and I spend my time thinking about the things things that I want instead of the things that I don't want. This is the kind of mental management that we need to do in order to use pendulums for our benefit, to keep the subtle pendulums where they should be and to keep on track with our personal goals. I hope you found the concepts in this video very relatable and useful. Let me know in the comments below how you're going to be applying this to your life. I also have a group called Inspire at Random on the school.com platform. It's a manifestation community. So if you like some support, if you like to group with like-minded individuals, get on this pendulum of improving our lives and achieving our dreams and desires. Link is in the video description. Do check it out. It is free for a limited time. For another video, watch this one over here.